So I have been going through the annals of the internet and I've been wondering why black content creators always talk about relationship and feminism against red pill movement and all that. And I don't get it because most of the content creators I watch on YouTube are educational content creators. Things they talk about stoicism, how to lead, theories, beliefs, psychology, philosophy and all that, making book reviews and all that. And most of them, I'm not saying all of them, most of them, I'm not saying they are not blacks, but most of them are different races, and I'm shocked. So I try to analyze this phenomenon or analyze this thought of mine. Man, I could be wrong. Maybe there are some black content creators that do other stuff that I have not really looked into, but most of them is either politics or women, men, body count, unnecessary conversations that wouldn't bring any profit to the society. But anyway, I digressed. Now to the main point of this video. I came across one podcast episode of one of my favorite writers. His name is Manson. He's the writer of Everything is F***ed and The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***. Actually, these two books are one of the books that helped me through 2021, and I would recommend it for y'all. He's one of my favorite writers. If you have had a chance to read any of my books, any of my recent books, he was the one who gave me the inspiration to write that style, to write it in that form. So, Mark Manson, I'm giving him his flowers today.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Yeah, I came across his new project that he has started. I think he started a long time ago. I just got, introduced to it. I don't know what happened, but mostly I watch his videos, so I don't know how I missed that, but it's all good. He has started a new podcast project, which is, I think it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a podcast, named after his famous book. So, yeah, I happened to come across, I started watching it like last week, and I happened to come across one of his recent episodes, and he did it with Derek Silas. He is an entrepreneur and a TED Talk speaker. And yeah, I think in one of what he said something, he made a reference to Kanye West, and I want us to take a look at it and come back and make a reaction to it.
Netflix, it is absolutely fascinating. I would absolutely check it out, potentially use him as an anecdote for your book. So basically what happened when Kanye was like 17 or 18 years old and he was still unfamous, like nobody knew who he was, he met this young filmmaker, a guy a few years older than him. And the filmmaker met him and Kanye was immediately like, I'm going to be the biggest rapper in the world. You should make a documentary about me. And the guy was like, okay, sure. And so he started following him around with like a little camcorder. This is back in like 1999, 2000. Followed him around with the camcorder for like 3 or 4 years. And sure enough, Kanye became the biggest rapper in the world. And he like caught the entire rise. What's so remarkable about the footage is that you see this mindset. It seems to be inherent in Kanye's mind the entire time. Like there's footage of him walking into record labels and radio stations with his demo disc, walking up to people and saying, I'm going to be the biggest rapper in the world. And they just flat out laugh in his face. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, you don't get it. All right, you're going to regret this. And he like turns around and walks out. He's not deterred. He's not upset. He's not angry. Like it's just this very fundamental belief. But what's interesting is the documentary then kind of jumps to present day. Like the filmmaker comes back into his life maybe 5 years ago, and you see how that mentality is hurting him.
Brilliant.
And how Kanye just has this overwhelming confidence and belief. He's very untethered to reality at this point. He's been way too famous, way too rich. Everybody's kissing his ass. He's got yes men everywhere. Nobody's looking out for his interests. And he just has this overwhelming confidence to do this or record that. You can just see how it's getting him into trouble. It's almost like a fascinating case study of the benefits and perils of overconfidence, I would say. So my second point, aside from I really like the tool thing, I think it only works if you're willing to change those beliefs. If you have a belief that's useful, but you're completely inflexible about it, it might help you for a little while, but at some point it's going to fuck you. And so if you're not flexible in your beliefs and willing to check in on them and switch them out for new ones, then maybe that's kind of where that threshold is, where it's like it goes from helpful to unhelpful.
Oh, good stuff here. The example you used at the beginning of the boss, I'd say that his beliefs were not useful because the difference between shallow happy and deep happy, right? So shallow happy is eating the ice cream now. Deep happy is being proud of yourself for not eating the ice cream. That's just a dumb example, but so on a shallow level,
we're all about the ice cream metaphors here.
The boss might be short-term happy, like, yeah, I'm just stomping on everybody, getting what I want. Look at me, I'm crushing it. But that's funny that you said that word. Like, imagine like stomping on, like crushing everything around you, right?
Crushing everybody.
Right. You could say like, this isn't working for you. You're crushing everybody around you. You're being bad. You're making the world a worse place, and ultimately you're making your future worse. You might be on a short-term selfish gain right now, but you're on a long-term downward path, right? Quick aside, when people say, when you say useful, not true, what do you mean useful?
Yes.
Because somebody could use it for short-term evil. I say, no, to me, useful, and I do define it at the beginning by saying, useful means generally being who you want to be. It's something that helps you go where you want to go, ultimately be who you want to be. It's long-term, not short-term. So back to the point of changing the beliefs. I'm so glad you brought this up. Did you ever read the book, I think it was Marshall Goldsmith, that wrote, What Got You Here Won't Get You There?
Never read it. Great title, though.
The book is written for CEOs, built their way up to the top, so now they're the boss of people. And what he's saying is, this guy's been like a corporate consultant for years, and he's saying, from all that I've observed, the skills that it took you to get from, say, childhood or obscurity to being the boss of a big company were a different set of skills that you're going to need now as the boss. So you might have made it more about you on your way up. But once you're at the top, you need to make it about the people around you. A tiny example, he said, don't add 2 cents.
Yeah, so the main topic or the main thing they were talking about in this video was, I think it's about reprogramming our mind for success and addressing the beliefs that we have. And Manson made a reference to a Netflix documentary. I think it was based on Kanye West and how he rose up, and an old video of Kanye West that came up, and he had a belief when he was 14 or 17 and going to record labels and going to record studios telling them that he would be the best rapper alive, and they were making fun of him, but he still had a belief and went on to do what he said he would do. And at a point he was the best rapper alive. At the point he was the most successful rapper. And so the documentary was to go back and forth Kanye's life and how he started and all that. But this example or case study that Mark Manson brought out in this episode was to tell us that sometimes the belief that we have that took us to a certain point or a certain success, it's not that same belief that we use to maintain that success. That is the reason why nowadays Kanye West has been conditioned into that belief and can't put a bridle on his act right now, and he's always getting into trouble and all that. And Derek Savers also made a point. He even made a reference to a book that stipulated that what brought you there wouldn't keep you there. So basically trying to say that as you have a confidence and you hustle your way through to the top of the ladder, when you get to the top of the ladder, you need to be flexible and readjust your beliefs and readjust your mind, reprogram your mind for success. So basically trying to say that what takes you there is not what is going to maintain you. I'm repeating the same thing. So this actually dawned on me and made me think a lot, and I was like, this is one gem, this is one thing we need to trumpet to the next generation and to us as individuals, and to get this understanding that you need to have an open mind and transition when you get into a space of success. The name is ADB, and that is what was my opinion about.
And we say bye-bye!